Hi, this is Kevin with Crossing Out the I. There's a funny story that my family tells of a farmer going about his work when a government agent shows up, flashes his badge, and demands to look around the property to make sure everything is in order. The farmer agrees and continues going about his day as the agent disappears. Then, the farmer hears a commotion in the field adjacent, and running up, he sees the government agent being chased by a bull. Thinking quickly and happening upon a solution, the farmer throws himself against the fence and yells, "Quick, show him your badge!" So, what is our proper relation to government? And what I find is that whenever I speak about government or I hear someone speaking about government, everyone kind of tends to stop listening. So, therefore, I propose not to speak about the government, at least not at first, but rather one of the principles which seems to be at odds with the act of being governed, followed by a couple of principles which should help shape our understanding of government. First, the principle. Let's talk about liberty. What is liberty? There's a common misconception that liberty means that one can do whatever one likes, but that is not the case. Page 52 of the Compendium of the Social Doctrine of the Church names three spiritual powers that man possesses: reason, the discernment of good and evil, and free will. And free will is intrinsically linked to the prior two. Man is called to submit his will to his intellect, which possesses the means to understand good from evil, and being made in the image of God, as we learn in Genesis 2, subordinate his will to that understanding, oftentimes called conscience. Therefore, when we speak of a man's free will, we speak of his ability to do as he ought, not as he wants. Therefore, is total freedom something that God possesses, something to be grasped at? The scriptures tell us that this is not the case. Even God himself, in the form of Jesus, did as he ought have, as Philippians 2 tells us. Quote, "Though he was in the form of God, Jesus did not regard equality with God something to be grasped. Rather, he emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, coming in human likeness, and found human in appearance. He humbled himself, becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross." So how does the government factor into this? Well, there's a legitimate question as to whether or not any positive restrictions in the form of laws have any hold on the human person who possesses liberty. Since, according to page 171 of the compendium, authority must be guided by the moral law, and that authority has no existence apart from God, it follows that the government does have legitimate authority to bind the wills of men in a positive sense, insofar as it enacts just laws that adhere to the natural and moral laws. This falls in line with what St. Paul says in chapter 13 of his letter to the Romans when he says, quote, "Let every person be subordinate to the higher authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been established by God." It should be noted, of course, that a government that violates the natural and moral laws destroys its own authority and should be rectified as quickly as possible through the proper means. With this understanding of things, it is possible for a man to reshape his government to a more humanitarian mold, understanding that to submit to the things that God has established is an act of humility and obedience. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Kevin with Crossing Out the I, and I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless.